Hello coders, a quick review of how to code urinary system. I have an example and let's review that quickly. So we have a question here. The urologist is asked by the general surgeon to place a urethral catheter. Now remember, there are two words that you want to pay attention to. Medical terms are very important in coding language and coding world, because remember, it is what gives you the correct code. And we want to have the coding accuracy because we are going to put these codes on the claim form and has to be sent to the insurance company so that the doctor can get the reimbursement, proper reimbursement back. If there's any problem and you create a mistake by not knowing the medical terms, this is where we can create problems. So remember, it is urethral, not urethral, because in the anatomy of urinary system, you have, let me show you, I think I have a picture here. If you notice, there is a ureter and there is a urethra. Can we see the urethra here? No. Anyway, this thing that is within the, the male anatomy is the urethra. The urethra goes into the bladder, and then the bladder becomes the ureter, and the ureter goes to the kidney. So the urinary system is basically the kidney, the ureter, the tube, the two tubes actually. There are two ureters, one from each kidney to the bladder, and from the bladder to the urethra, the urine is eliminated. So continuing with our question, the general surgeon to place urethral catheters for visualization of the ureters during a complicated bowel surgery. So the doctor is doing a bowel surgery. Why is he doing a urethral catheter? Just to keep a good visualization, because he doesn't want to damage the ureter, which is right around the abdominal cavity, around the intestinal area of the body. So cystoscopy is performed and urethral catheters are inserted. The general surgeon removes the catheters at the end of the case. Very important to understand and remember all those key points. So remember, understanding anatomy is very important. Why? Because now I need to know what is he doing and why is he doing it, right? So when he said cystoscopy of the ureter, where did he go? Did he go into the urethra? Or did he go all the way up here? So yes, he inserted a catheter, which was inserted through the urethra, into the bladder, into the ureter. And you can see this is where the cystoscope has to be landed, because this is exactly where the doctor is worried if he does not cause any damage to the ureter while performing his abdominal surgery. Okay, so again, very important to understand the medical terminology, anatomy, to be a better coder. Coming back to our scenario, guys, so we have 4 choices given to us. Very easy. We can jump on each of these codes in our CPT manual. Remember, this is a CPT question. Why? Because CPT is your procedure. The P stands for procedure, current procedural terminology. And we are looking for a procedure. So that means, what did the doctor do? The doctor performed a cystoscopy. We're not coding a diagnosis. We are coding a procedure. So whenever we code for procedure, we always use the CPT book because it has the P in it, the procedure for P. And we always ask the question as a coder, what did the doctor do? That is how I will start to look for the main term. So what is my main term here? Think. Yes, cystoscopy. This is what I will try to find in my index. In case if I don't have the choices given, I will have to go to the proper steps of CPT coding. And first step is always to go to your index. Okay, so I am on my index, which is the second half of the CPT book, the end of the book, and you will see how all these main terms are organized in ABC pattern. So you want to look for cystoscopy, and we call this first word, one word, the main term. So if I ask you what is the main term you would like to look for in this scenario, your answer is going to be yes, think, answer, correct, cystoscopy. So cystoscopy is your main term for the scenario. we go to the index, we look for cystoscopy, and we look for choices under. Now remember, the CPT index is a little bit confusing. Since I know how to code for this, I will not really look for cystoscopy. I will look for, although this is taking you to these codes, but it's not giving you the exact subterms. You see that second and the third word, which are the subterms. They're not giving you the exact words. So since I know that, I will look for cystourethroscopy. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to write cystourethroscopy right next to it. I want you to write this word right next to cystoscopy, so you will never get confused, and you will always end up here, because this is more better of a main term to look for in order to get to the right areas of your coding scenario. So remember, we are on cystourethroscopy. It's the same thing. Why do we call it cystourethroscopy, and why am I looking for cystourethroscopy when I'm supposed to be looking for cystoscopy? Because it's the same thing. Once you enter the cysto is the bladder, the urethro is the urethra, scopy is the visualization. So when you go into the urethra, you cannot go to the ureter without entering the cyst, the bladder, or the urethra, right? So you have to pass through them in order to get to the ureter. So that is why this word is more better of a choice than cystoscopy only. Cystoscopy is also right, but you know how everything can be confusing. This is the confusing part of the CPT, so I want you to remember and follow this. Now, under that, this is my main term now, okay? What is my subterm? The subterms are the words that come after the main term, and we are going to follow this line, this first gray line. So I'm looking for biopsy, calibration, catheterization. That is my second word that I'm supposed to be looking at, because if you review the question, it says place urethral catheters, right? Urethral catheters. So everything that I'm looking for is according to catheterization. Okay, fine, catheterization. What catheterization? Did I go to the ejaculatory duct or did I go to the urethra? So I went to the urethral. Again, I will go back and review my note. Yes, urethral catheters. Perfect. So I am following the correct direction. So I have catheterization, and then remember, it's main term, subterm catheterization, again subterm catheterization. I can have a long list of subterms. I just have to make sure I'm following all the keywords that were given to me in my question, so I get to the right place. Now, after ureter, I have nothing more to look for, right? So I will follow the code ranges given to me. I'm going to write these codes on a piece of paper if I cannot remember it, because I don't want to keep coming back to this page again. So now I'm going to go to my tabular list, or the first half of the book, where I am going to follow the sections on top of the page. And you see how I'm at the corner of the top right page, and I'm looking for the code ranges, and I see 52005. This is exactly where I have to be to find the rest of the codes I had found in the index. I'm also looking at the color of the paper because it says urinary system. So if I remember the purple color pages, I will say, oh yeah, urinary system are the purple color pages, and I can also tab it. Remember, the tabbing is so much important. If you are going for certification exam, it will save you a lot of time. So when I'm here, I will be looking for all the codes that I found in my index. So let's go there. I see 52005. So was that my choice? Yes, it is my choice. So I'm going to look for 52005 and then the rest of them as well. So let's go there. And okay, so I'm here. Remember, anytime you come to the tabular section or the section of the CPT where you have all the codes and descriptions given, you want to make sure that you're reading the notes and the guidelines. Very, very important, okay? So what notes am I talking about? So if you notice, there are notes, coding tip, right? Notes, guidelines, information at the bottom. These green arrow, I don't know what they're for, but I've never used them. I think it's just a reference to prior codes given before, so we don't really pay attention to or read it, but we do read anything that is written in a normal pattern or font. So it says the insertion of the removal of the temporary urethral catheters 52005. Insertion, removal, urethral catheter. Remember, all these three words are exactly according to my note. But when it says during diagnostic and therapeutic cystourethropy, which is exactly what we are doing, but if this is associated with ureteroscopy or piloscopy, we can use these codes, 5232, 52356, should not be reported separately. Okay, do you remember in your notes, did we see ureteroscopy? Did we see piloscopy? Take a look at it again, pause it and read it again. Did you or did you not? I don't think so, right? So all of the codes that you were given along with this, these are the codes that they're talking about. Go ahead and check all of them individually. Find these codes, read the notes, read the keywords as exactly as what we're reading here. So let's read the 52005. Cystourethropy, urethral catheterization with or without irrigation installation uretropilography, exclusive of radiological service. Okay, so exclusive of radiological service. We are only doing it for the purpose of radiology. We're not doing it for any kind of diagnostic purposes. We're not doing it for any kind of therapeutic purposes. We're just putting the catheter in and removing it just to visualize, just to see the radiological view. So this fits my picture perfectly fine, okay? And also, remember, look at the pictures, keep looking. You have to look, and always read whatever you can read, always see whatever you can see. This is a good place to learn the anatomy, to learn the medical terms by just giving it a few more minutes to see where did I go, where did I put my catheter, where am I going from here to there to there. What is a ureter? What is a bladder? What is a ureter? What is a kidney? And how are they situated? And what exactly is the doctor doing? Does that make sense as to how simple it is to be learning in these 5 minutes, right? Maybe 12. I think I've gone to 12 minutes. But anyways, those 12 minutes of coding, finding the code in the book, and just learning it, making notes. Write down notes here so you can remember. Write notes everywhere. Highlight, underline these words that you just did on your coding description. Matching every word with your question is a very important thing. You come here, you match the words, you go back, you match your words of all the code descriptions, all the keywords. When I say keywords, what do I mean? I mean uretral, I mean catheterization, I mean radiological service. Understand the description. Go and read the rest of the codes too to compare and see which one would be the right code. Okay? So, anything else? So remember, now you have the ability to figure out the answer. So go ahead, figure out your answer and give it to me in your assignments. And I hope this helps. And let me know if you want any more videos from me. Okay? Have a great day, guys.